Man, talk to us about this balance you have to have of playing in a high octane pipe band drum corps that's competing for all the titles every year and touring with a badass rock band. These are two totally different mentalities, totally different gigs. How do you find that balance between the two?
Yeah, the only thing they have in common is the drum, really.
Right, yeah.
That's the only thing. So I've been, as I say, I've been playing pipe band drumming since I was 5 and competing. So that's drilled in me to know what I'm doing. So the pipe band world is very focused. Playing a drum corps, everyone's playing as one. You're playing as a unit. You want to sound like one drummer. Dynamics have to be great. All your roughs, opener has to be together, loose, tight, whatever it may be.
You're not you. You're a member of the corps.
As a member of the corps,
right?
so it's a team game. It's a team game. It's like ends like football. It's like soccer,
Yeah.
football, baseball, whatever it be. It's a team game.
Yeah.
So the pipe band world, I've got a different switch for it, which I'm used to. But when I joined the Chili Pipers, it was a bit of a I'm kind of my depth here, and I've kind of molded into it. It's kind of your stuff like touring life's different. That's kind of different, but it's the music is different. So with the Chili Pipers, we have drum kit player, a horn section, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, bass guitarist, keyboard player, guitarist, 3 pipers, a singer. There's dancers, there's a lighting engineer, we've got a 2 manager, front of house, monitor engineer, we've got the full shebang. But when I'm writing music and pipe band drumming, it's to the medley. So the MSR goes, the ending, and the end would be, and that would fit great. But with the Chili Pipers, in the background there'll be a horn line going on, and there'll be the bass guitars will be just sitting on the note, and the drummer's like, I'm not going to sit and go, because it'll just be
too much,
really out of place or awkward. So you need to think, okay, well, that would fit the melody line, that would fit the pipe tune right now, but what's happening right now is the horn lines are doing the da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then the bass guitars is sitting there. So where do I go? Do I follow the horn line? Do I just sit on the groove, or do I sit out? The space is also a lot of it. You don't want to overdrill it with snare drum, so it's just taught with space. So
so you don't even though you're playing a pipe band snare drum technique, you are the compositions you write for the Chili Pipers.
It's way different.
Because we play a lot of notes in pipe bands because the music lends itself to a lot of notes, but it's not that way in Chili Pipers.
It's not that way at all. It's like we do a lot of traditional stuff and a lot of jig sets, and I'll play a jig. I'll play a jig score and it'll work.
Straight up jig, yeah.
But even sometimes in the jigs, it's like it hits like bam bam da da ba da da ba down that. So I could follow the hits, or I can follow the line, or I can sit out. Like you just need to think what works. And it's all kind of trial and error. So you'll try it in a recording or in the studio, and it's like, okay, that doesn't work, so I won't play with the pipe melody. Then okay, I'll try the hits. Great. We're good. Does it need the snare drum hit? So no, it doesn't, because the kit player's doing it on the cymbals and the bass player. So it's just a different aspect of thinking. It's not really like with an MSR, you're playing the full MSR, you're playing to the music, and every burrow you're like, okay, that's everyone's thinking. Whereas with the Chili's, it's more about a vibe and a feel and what works, and a lot about rhythms rather than scores. Like sometimes I'll just play a rhythm, like just a rhythm that runs through the music, and it fits with everything that's happening. It might not follow the pipe tune, but it fits with the rest of the rhythm section.
Absolutely. Man, another thing that I hear in your playing with the Chili Pipers specifically that I've always appreciated, the nature of the sound of that snare drum is very particular, right? So, you have to get out of pipe band mode, even though it's a pipe band, an instrument that comes from pipe bands, but it's also such a particular sound. If you use that sound of a Scottish snare drum, that's very different from a conga or a cowbell. So what's cool and what I really appreciated is, obviously the compositional approach is different. It's not about notes all the time, but you also have to just consider the nature of that sound, because you don't always need it.
No, totally
And this
not.
is why you play so much other percussion, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't always need that sound.
Yeah, we actually got, there was a percussionist in the band originally called Paul Jennings.
Okay.
But he now lives in LA.
Okay.
And I just learned off him. I just soaked everything up of him, and
and that's how you learn congas, djembe, and the auxiliaries.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And I've got like an SPDSX, and I've got cowbells, timbales, shake. I've got loads of stuff, and I just kind of learned that okay, the steel drum's good, but it doesn't need everything. So how can I incorporate other things and get the gig? And then the percussion's great because it's got me other gigs out of, not just because people just think, oh, he's not just a snare drummer now. So it opens your world to doing other gigs. I've done gigs in wee bars in Glasgow. I've done a kind of jazz thing called Fat Suit. All that kind of stuff. So I do a whole bunch of stuff. And then last night with the St. Lawrence pipe band concert, I played percussion for most of that.
Cool.
I played like 2 tracks on the snare drum.
That's awesome.
2 tracks, and the rest was all.
And it's so valuable, right? And that's
percussion.
cool to hear you say that, you've played Scottish pipe band snare drumming your entire life, and because of the necessity of the Chili gig, you all of a sudden found yourself learning other facets of percussion.
Yeah.
And if you didn't do that, then you wouldn't have as many gigs.
Exactly.
And to play congas well, that doesn't mean you have to be Pedrito Martinez.
Yeah, Giovanni Hidalgo.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
don't have to be Giovanni Hidalgo, but you got to know how to make the right sounds,
The tones,
open, slap, tone sounds, exactly.
Kind of stuff,
it's not just whack away, and even a cowbell.
You just got to know when to hit it. It's not just going ding, ding,
That's
ding.
right.
There's times I did, and it's all really just feel and trial and error, and
That's right.
it really just is a vibe. It's totally different way of thinking to pipe band drumming.
And again, I think this is a huge thing about what the Chili Pipers do. That again, I really appreciate, and I hear it. I hear that you guys have taken the time to decide when the Scottish pipe band snare drum needs to be in the track and what needs to be played. Nothing's forced. Same with all the percussion stuff, because I love, on one hand, that pipe band drummers try to add percussion to their concerts and whatnot. I really appreciate that, but I think there needs to be more trial and error, as opposed to, we're just gonna throw congas into this track. Well, why? Why are you adding congas to that track?
Yeah.
Is there a reason, or are you just cutting and pasting ideas? And you guys have clearly taken a lot of time to decide why you want each percussion sound to be in there.
I mean, when you're doing that, you're in like the studio just in the guitars and whatever, doing chords and they're doing all that, and I'm thinking, right, so where's the key change would be a good place to do that, because it adds another lift to it, etc. And it's just different ways of thinking, and there is no right or wrong. It's just, you don't want to overdo it and you don't want to underdo. You just need to try and find the right balance. And sometimes I might not find the right balance, and I'll hear the album back and go, I should have sat out for the end of that.
But I love that you keep saying it's trial and error. Just like we were talking about, but technique and improv and everything else, you've got to try stuff out.
You just got to try stuff. It's the same. It's like anything, as most of these guys might tell you, doing getting other interviews with them. It's just, we've all kind of got the same goal. It's just, we're all doing it to have fun. We do compete in the pipe band circuit, and we like to win. And if we don't win, it just gets you hunger for more. But as long as you don't get too obsessed with winning, because you'll end up just not enjoying it. So as long as you're all happy with how you played and your own personal performance, then it's cool.
Absolutely.
It's cool. And if you win into the bargain, great, let's get some beer. Cool. And if we don't win, let's get more beer.
Exactly. If you don't win, let's get some more beer.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that a little bit, man. Imagine, the thousands and thousands of players all over the world who, just because their life has taken a different path, they're not going to be able to play in a grade 1 band, but they want to be the best musicians they can be, and they want to really enjoy their efforts and the final product with their band. How do we help each other continue that musical growth personally without getting too obsessed about the competition aspects? Because you're right, it can totally suck the joy out of the day if that's all you're focused on. How do we find that balance?
I think that's kind of based on what band you're in and what happens at your band practice, because loads of people I see this week, because it's Worlds Week, and people from New Zealand, Australia, Canada, America, and you only see them for these 5 days. And you don't even see them for 5 days, you see them for like 35 minutes.
You see them for 5 minutes,
30 minutes, half an hour, 50 minutes, a quick beer, and then you go and whatever. So I think that kind of happens in your own practice, so, and like your band practice. So if your pipe major league drummer's like just concerned with winning, that's always going to be drilled into you. Whereas the band I'm in with St Lawrence O'Toole, it's just all about the music, and we win, lose or draw, we all go back to the hotel and we all just get a good drink regardless.
Is it really like that with you guys at Slot? Do you feel like, I mean, you guys are really confident enough that no matter what, you're going to feel good? Yeah, but
there's times when we haven't had a good performance and we didn't do too well today, so
then it doesn't matter. If you didn't do your best, it doesn't matter what the result is.
Yeah, there's times where certain things, there's certain reasons whatever happened didn't go well, and people are just like, you know what, it's fine, we'll pick ourselves up, it wasn't great today, we've learned from mistakes, we realise next time we should do ABC and a prep, and then we'll go for it. It's just really all about the music, and I think that depends what happens in your pipe band. So if your lead drummer or your pipe major or people you're with are very relaxed about just having fun, and if they win, it is competition and we all want to win, I do get that, but just if you don't get too hung up on it, it'll work.
It's tough, right? Because I know I've heard from pipe majors and lead drummers, let's say in the US, and about how to maintain that team vibe and good spirits when you come to Scotland. And what I hear often is, you know, Mike, we spend so much time and money to come over here. We feel that if we don't get the result, we're wasting our time. And that, you know, if we don't come home with that trophy, then all this effort is for naught. And I hear that and I think, man, that's such a shame to hear that, because it is the process, it is the experience. You bust your ass with your team to raise your level, your personal level, and you get kind of this holiday as well.
Yeah.
To come over to Scotland, meet guys like you, see all the big guys, see St. Lawrence O'Toole, you know, out on the green, and you get to soak up that influence. And I think that it's a shame if you think all that is not good and it's wasted if I don't come home with the cup. And I just think, man, the cup is up to you.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to remember that experience for the rest of your life and benefit from it musically, that has nothing to do with those judges. No. It has to do with you.
And then the thing is, though, if that's your mentality, most pipe bands obviously don't cover it. You have to pay for it yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're coming with that mentality and you're spending all your hard-earned cash on working at home, your 9 to 5 job or your night shift or whatever it may be, or doing overtime to get here, and then you're thinking, oh, it was a rubbish trip because we didn't win, but you've spent X amount on flights and a hotel for the week or 10 days and all your kit and you know, your drinking money and food money, and you spent all that money and you're just coming back going, oh, I wasn't very good because we didn't win. Yes, the winning adds so much and we all love winning. There'd be nothing better than Saturday for St. Lawrence O'Toole to win this bike. I would love that. I would be like, that's amazing. But see, if we don't, it's been a great week, a great year. We've won some contests. I've catch up with some friends, we've played some good music and became second, or became third, or we won, or became fourth, or we didn't place, whatever it may be.
Right.
You might be annoyed for a couple hours.
For a couple hours.
You know what, but life goes on.
Life goes on, and you know what else exists for, or seemingly forever, are all these recordings, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and this is something I've always stressed to either my groups or student groups is, you know what? Yes, it'd be great to win, but after it's done, like you said, you're going to forget about the result and you're always going to want to go back and listen to that recording. Yeah. You know, so even if your band came in second, you think you should have came in first or whatever, if you had a positive experience with your team and a lot of growth in it and you're proud of your performance, you're going to want to listen to that recording, you know? And I mean, I think that is a trophy in itself.
Exactly.
To say, man, let's check out O'Toole's from 13 or whatever. To not even care about the result, but to say, man, that was one of my favorite horn pipes.
That's the thing, though. That's what you'll be when you're in Christmas Day with your family, getting a good drink. You'll be like, oh man, we didn't win, but look, this was great.
Check this out.
We should have won because it was so good. And that's like going, so the trip was worth a while because you're reminiscing now 6 months later at Christmas time or whatever it may be. Or your grandkids and go, I played in that band in 2015 and we're now sitting in 2035 or maybe. I played in that band, blah, 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 blah. So it is worth the time. And if you win into the bargain, it just adds. Even if you get second place isn't bad. The second place is good. It's just, it's a weird one. If you get caught in the competition, it might just ruin your trip. It might just ruin your day or your night, or when you go home, you might not, whatever. It
really is such an important thing, especially to hear from guys like you, I think. Guys who, I mean, again, are just at the highest of high levels, to really hear about, you know, valuing the experience of coming to Scotland. Man, is it a chore to get to Scotland. You know, Australia, New Zealand, US, Canada, all of us come here every year to be in what I've always affectionately called the motherland of pipe band land, and to just enjoy seeing bands like yours and just the experience of getting here and working hard. That's what it is.
So I didn't really get to that mentality though till I started touring. So when I was young, I started touring when I was about 17, so I was still young. But I played football, like soccer, all my days, and I was always used to like winning. I used to do running and all that. And then the pipe band, I was competing and doing contests and trying to win too. So I was always in the competitive mode, like always win kind of thing. And then I went on the road and realised that you're touring and playing in front of 500 people, 600, 5,000, whatever it may be, like quite big crowds to small crowds. People are just enjoying your mood. People are toe tapping, people are clapping their hands, and it's like, and they're not judging you. They're not saying first place, second place. It's like, great. I had a great night. I danced. I was like, yeah, music is music. It took me till I toured, and not everybody gets the opportunity, but it took me till I done gigs to realise winning's great. Winning's great. I love it. But if you don't win, you've played a great medley, and it's on the BBC, and it's been live streamed, and I can watch it next week with a beer and go, that was great. It's good to listen back, because when you're playing the competition too, to me, it's all just a bit of a blur.
Yeah.
It's all kind of like, when it's done, you're like, okay.
Exactly. Oh, and then it's done.
And you're like, oh, that 6 minute medley's now finished. Wow. So it's good to listen back and watch it. So, but it didn't take me till I was on the road and gigging and people were appreciating the music and not judging.
That's really interesting to hear.
Not judging me, because I was young. I was also young.
Yeah.
And I was always in competitive mode. But
Sure.
when I went on the road, I realised that people just like music.
People just
and
like
people
music.
who are there to spectate aren't there judging you. They're there. There's loads of people come to this who don't even play a note in the pipes.
No,
and
no,
picked up
that-
a set of sticks. They're just here because they like the sound of the bagpipes. And they're like, I'll just go and sit and watch.
Exactly.
And watching, and it's not going to get any better than watching the finalists in the Grade 1 final.
No,
There's not a
exactly.
bad band in there. Everybody's good.
You were in hardcore competition mode, and you had to go on tour yourself to really realize, there's a different perception of being in music.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend to people who don't have the opportunity to be in a touring music group? How can they have different exposure, or help them to understand that making the music and being on the team is of higher value than the contest itself? What would you recommend to them?
I would say try and go to a lot more gigs.
Yeah.
Like if you can get the chance, I know there's loads of gigs happening in Glasgow and Edinburgh. There's loads of bands playing in bars and doing like jam sessions, open mic nights and stuff.
Yeah.
Just try and get down and watch it.
Yeah.
And if there's a band you like playing in the Hydro or a small thing, just go and watch it and just feel the vibe of the crowd and the guys off stage, and nobody's judging and you realise that's what music is. So that's what the pipe band is. It's just that there's 4 guys at the end of a pencil making this decision, and if you win, brilliant.
Yeah.
It's great. They'll love it. You'll go out and have some beers and get a catch up and celebrate the win.
Yeah.
And you'll have the day off Sunday, then go back to work Monday.
Exactly.
And that's it. So I would just say try and go to as many gigs as you can. If you're playing a contest or it's the March Pass result, just be open minded and go. There's a lot worse things that could happen.
I mean, that's a great thing, right? If you want to have a better appreciation of music, go listen to more music.
Yeah, just go listen to
especially live man, right? It's so different. It's so different.
It's so raw, and like seeing live acts.
Absolutely.
Just live acts. I'll just not change your total mind frame, because I'm going to go on Saturday and try and win the contest.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's why we're all here. But if you don't, I'm not going to be sitting in my house on Saturday
Right.
and going, well, I'm not going for a beer. Of
And
course I'm going to
that's
go for a
right.
beer, because everybody's going to go home on Sunday or Monday back to the States
Exactly.
and New Zealand and Australia. So of course I'm going to go out and have a beer.
Of course.
And then when it maybe gets to Monday, I'll go, I wish we won, but.
And
had a
then, of
great
course,
time.
you're going to try to go see other groups as well.
Yeah,
when you're
and
not playing, right?
when I'm not playing, because I'll be, hopefully, if St. Lawrence still qualify, I'll be done for about 1 o'clock, 1:30.
Yeah.
So I'll be going after the whole day to go and watch Simon Fraser, go and hear Scottish Power, go and hear Inveraray, go and hear the 78s, go and hear New Zealand Police.
Exactly.
Because
they're all so good and they're so
Yeah,
awesome.
they're all
And
so good.
Even
They've
if
all
you
got
are
their own-
competing against them, you want to go check them
and
out.
they've all got their own unique style, and
Yeah.
they're all doing different things, and they all
Totally.
tune their drums differently, and they all have different interpretations of ways they do stuff. So it's good to just hear and go, I quite like that, I might steal that
Yeah.
idea, or oh yeah, it's good. And then
It's cool when that happens, right? You hear that one little thing
That
from the
phrase or
band, you
that
go,
bar.
ooh, I'm going to do that next time,
Yeah.
or I'm going to go try that out at home.
Yeah,
That's how
exactly.
that's a really cool way to learn from those guys
Exactly.
without actually interacting with them.